Welcome to A-Side Boxing. I'm one of your co-hosts. I'm Marlon Parker.
Ray Massey, Carlos Massey.
Today is my honor and pleasure, our honor and pleasure, to bring WBC super middleweight champion, Shadasia Green.
Yes,
Welcome,
sir.
Shadasia.
I appreciate you guys having me, man. For real.
Well,
Seriously.
thank you. We reached out. We didn't want to seem too weird. We've been watching you for a while and didn't know how to reach out and do it, but we appreciate you coming on. And
I want to thank you guys for opening up your platform for me to come on and introduce myself and to gain some exposure, because a lot of people don't understand that the podcasters and the different type of interviewers are what's really important in boxing. The fans demand the fights. You could sit down and you could talk about who you want, but if the fans don't want to see it, you won't see it. And that's what I'm learning here today. So you guys aren't fans. Y'all are very important, pivotal a part of the boxing community. You guys are really harsh on fighters, and I love it. We need that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, these guys used to fight in amateurs.
Wow.
I think
that's why we're harsh.
They had a combined record of like 100 and 500.
And he was going 33.
You know what's crazy is a lot of people that are so critical of the sport never even been in a ring. So that's the level of respect that you guys have that nobody else does. I would love to invite y'all down to the gym and come and get some rounds in.
Man. No, as long as I don't get hit, I'm good.
Man, I already heard you knocking out guys. No thank you. No thank you.
No mas.
I'm in there with some really, really tough guys. You got to understand, I come in the gym every day. When it's sparring day, I'm nervous because it's like, these guys, you got to understand, I'm a woman, but nobody wants to be showed up by a woman.
No.
So they're
Absolutely.
sweat dripping, swinging for the fences. And my trainer, his expectations do not lower. Whatever it is that he wants to work on that day, he don't care if I was in there with Mike Tyson. And Mike Tyson, you know how Mike Tyson was. You got to do what you got to do. I want to see what I want to see from you. I don't care if you're against the ring from Mike Tyson or whoever. And it's like, damn, I got to go in here with him. This guy, he trying to kill me. But I keep my composure and I present myself in the best aspect that I can, especially whatever it is that we worked on during the week. I try to exemplify that when we're sparring. That's it, man. Like, I'm really working. And you got a lot of fighters who go in the gym and they knocking people out. You know, I got 8 knockouts. So a lot of people think I can't go the distance. A lot of people think I can't box, I can't trade. But see, my trainers are smart. They're world championship caliber trainers. So when we in a gym like this, where I don't really have a fight date lined up and I'm hoping for something, we're working out all of my weaknesses. So I got it tough. I'm doing all I don't like. I'm doing they're picking on me constantly. Sometimes I'll leave the gym like, is this for me?
Well, it's funny that you talked about your camp. One of the things that I admire about you that I've observed in your performances, you have a very pro style, very poised. You're not reckless when you get your opponent hurt. You take your time, and from the outside looking in, and just being a former fighter, what I see from you is a level of boxing IQ and maturity that you don't typically see at 9 fights.
Right.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, first of all, I want to commend you, and then I appreciate you catching that in your eye, because it takes a fighter, a previous fighter, to recognize that. You know what I'm saying? Especially in women's boxing. You don't see a lot of intellect and poise in women's boxing. You see, not with the fighters today, but most fighters you see, they're going crazy. Yeah. They're not settled. They're swinging for the fences. They're swinging wild. But I think that part of me comes from, I have to give everything to my coaches. I'm trained by terrific guests who's he's had I want to say 5 or 6 former world championships. One of the main sticking out is Kendall Holt. He's from my hometown.
Oh, that's
He's
my boy.
yeah, he's the big brother. And I say that because he's always in my ear, even if I don't talk to him every day. He's constantly like talking to me about certain things. I sparred him a couple of times, and his father is the one who started me
Really?
from a pup. So his father is my assistant trainer, and they always tell me like, listen, new levels bring new devils. So you get to that next level and you fight in these type of rounds. A fight, it's crazy. He'd be like, listen, a fight gonna break out. And even when I was training with Kenny Porter, and Sean Porter, a lot of people might have overlooked that, but I had the opportunity to go to Las Vegas and train with them, and those guys taught me how to be professionals. I mean, all around the sport. They told me how to carry myself and stay around weight. And Kenny Porter was probably the first one that said to me, "There's no such thing as cutting weight. There's a such thing as staying around your weight and being a professional, and like you would do at a job, to where you get a date and it's time to lose those extra pounds." So all of that poise and that comfort and that being patient rather comes from the trainers that I've had in my corner and the trainers that I've constantly had in my ear. I got also a trainer around by the name of Raj. He has a son by the name of Rajan Chance, and one of the best younger amateurs coming up. His name is Emmanuel. Um, Raj is a straight and forward trainer. Um, I remember one time I was shadowboxing and I was throwing my jab from the hip. He came in. He still had his coat on. He said, "Yo, listen, stop throwing that." He didn't say hi or nothing. He said, "Stop throwing the jab from your hip. Occupational hazard. Get in a shape, throw it from your chin." And these are all the small things.
Didn't that piss you off?
Right.
Yeah, because you're working hard.
Yeah, I'm working hard. I'm thinking doing something. I'm in the mirror. I'm moving around. I feel like I'm looking good. But Raj came right in and like, "Yo, stop throwing that from you." They're training for that.
Exactly.
If I'm in the other corner, I'm countering you because that's where you like to go. So I think the patient aspect and not getting wild and crazy and being poised comes from my trainers. And I got a good selection of trainers who they're leading and guiding my career. They're not letting me slack. They don't think I'm a star. They're not my fans. Excuse my French. They're in my ass every day.
You need that. You need that.
Push. Yeah.
And it makes me feel like, listen, I'm ready for whatever.
Exactly.
Throw it at me for whatever.
Right.
Seriously. So
Exactly.
that's daily, man.
So, how, do you consider yourself a boxer puncher? Because I noticed the transition from the amateurs to the pros. I know you like to be behind that jab and move a lot to deliver that power. What do you consider yourself fighting style as?
I like to say a boxer puncher because I spar a lot of guys. So a lot of guys, what I realized just most recently, I was going toe to toe with a guy, and I just realized, you know what? These guys are strong. I'm a woman. I'm still a
Right.
Yeah.
And my manager said to me one day, one of my stablemates, he like, "Yeah, Hakeem, he gonna put you in your place." I got mad, like, "Wait, put me in my place? What that mean?" Like, what?
Don't do that to me if I come back.
I'm thinking to myself, like, I love the fact of that I'm a woman. I love it. I love getting my nails, my feet, and all of that. Don't get it misconstrued. But I'm like, put me in my place. You put him in his place. But what it means is that he's a man, and he's event like these guys are stronger than me. So I learned how to box a lot. I box a lot when I'm in the gym. These guys not backing up. Now, women, that's a light day. Honestly.
Yeah, we've seen your fights.
I don't care what I've sparred world champions. Any women, I'm not as nervous. It's a light day. I can go forward. I can slip, not throw punches, put my hands down, and still be working on some stuff. But with men, I'm a boxer puncher. So I carry that into my game that if I ever came across a woman who wants to try to push me back, I'm gonna box and I'm gonna punch on her.
Who's
Period.
gonna try to push you back?
Yeah.
Man,
You know these champions, they tough. I can't give
come
them.
on.
They earn their spot. They earn the belts that they have, and they got something I want. So I gotta respect them as such.
Yeah.
They have all of what I want. They got the titles. They got the recognition. They got the exposure. They got the platform. I want that. No bitterness, no jealousy. I want what they have. Period.
I can hear the hunger.
Yeah, but you know the problem. Would you fight you? I mean, look at you. Exactly. You're thinking about it. Would you fight you?
Right.
You'd get around it.
I like him. Me being me, I would fight me.
Yeah.
And I'll find out how to beat me.
Exactly.
But then I'm on the other end of me, and I'm like, there's no way you're gonna beat me.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to take that Jessica Robinson clip down, because everyone looks at that and they say, no, I wouldn't dare. I'm not letting her lose on my fighter. No.
You know, I even consider those two first fights as a real pro debut.
Yeah.
You know,
and it shows you something. You were wrong.
As I look back, I'm embarrassed by those clips.
No.
And then, you know, the third fight with Aries Hernandez, that was a really tough fight. Yeah. And it showed me something, it matured me, it humbled me, and it made me work 100% harder. And then every fight thereafter that, you know, when I was fighting people with a lot more experience, and like I just fought a 13-0 opponent who was very heavy-handed. I never had seen a clip on her. And
you're smart because you didn't post that fight as well. And we noticed we've been looking for that fight, and you won't post that fight.
It's on my Instagram. It's on my page.
We're gonna grab it.
Serious?
Yeah, that's Angelica Lopez Flores. Yeah. That's I had to listen.
You had to go to Mexico.
Yes, because first of all, like unless you're a champion, and I had a champion tell me, we was going back and forth on Twitter, and I had a champion tell me the money got to be right for us to fight. And I have a great team behind me, but they're doing this all by themselves. No promoter, no big time manager, advisor. I have a married couple who's advising me and who gets me out there to keep me active, and that's it. And trainers. So I've turned down a couple of promoters or not responded back to them because I felt like their offers really wasn't good enough for my caliber of skills.
Absolutely. Know your value.
You know, skills pay the bills. Right. And I took a little page out of Bernard Hopkins' book too. I study a lot of Bernard Hopkins, and as we know, he went through a lot within his career, and wanting to be in control of his career. And his whole thing is the price is right. And I feel like he fought everybody. And he did it his way.
And look where he is now.
Hall of Famer, one of the greatest fighters to ever grace the sport. He beat the best. He continued to beat the best in his early stages of a young 50. So I study a lot of the greats, but with Angelica, we have been fighting to get that fight for months. That I had 4 or 5 different fight dates where the weight had to be 168, and I was doing a WBC weigh-in because you have to weigh in 30 days, 16 days, 7 days. So I was weighing in all of those times, and then the fight would fall through. Right now, I'm on WBC drug testing and stuff like that because I'm the silver. So they can pop up at any moment to make sure that I'm not doing any illegal substances or anything like that. So
is that the FADA drug test? Is that the one where they just pop up?
I don't know exactly what it is, but I know the WBC sent me some paperwork. I had to send it in. So at any given moment, like while I'm on an interview, they could pop up and do drug screen testing just cause. So
wow, you know, you said something that was it caught my ear when you were telling me about your work with Kendall Holt. I tell you, that's one of my favorite guys. I mean, I saw him when he came down here to fight one of our hometown fighters that we all know and love, Lamont Peterson. And I got a chance to get a picture with him, man. I've been a fan of him since I don't know, he was like 10-0. Uh, it was way young in his career. But
Mhm.
one of the things I admired about what he said, and I could always relate. Again, being a fighter myself, is he said nobody can teach me how to fight. He said I
Mhm.
already know how to fight. He said
Right.
I don't really need a coach for that. And
Mhm.
he said he needs a coach, more so to see what he doesn't see in the ring, but not to tell him how to fight.
Right.
That's more of a natural instinct uh,
Mhm.
that as fighters, as gladiators, we already have. It's like we're in
Yeah.
touch with that sixth sense, that we understand the harmony within the chaos in the ring, and
Mhm.
we see the punches before they land, and we know we can execute those types of punches. So, with that said, for you, do you do you feel the progression when you're in the ring, or is it something that you have to rely on your coach to um, guide you through?
Absolutely. I think I feel the progression, but our minds can be deceiving as fighters, and that's what we need. We need that team behind us.
Okay.
There's times that I'll go to Barry Porter, which is Kendall Holt father. He'll watch me spar, right? And this is crazy because you got Terrific Gist, who was Kendall Holt's trainer, and you got Barry Porter, who was Kendall Holt's father, and they're intertwined in my career, and they were intertwined in his career. So I go to Barry, and he'll go, I'm like, Barry, was I sharp? He like, you always sharp, but he like, uh, you don't need to do the shoulder with that guy. That guy is not on your level. He has to catch up to you. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, he's not on that level for you to do that. You need to work with him. It makes you look bad. And he'll send me home and I'll be like, I looked bad against this guy. Like, what? Like, there's guys that Barry is looking at me to work with, to lightly work with. Terrific could come to me and say, you got touched too much today. And I'm like, I did? Like, and they both send me into a mental whirlwind. And then I finally come to grips of understanding that. And I realize that as fighters, we may think we're doing something in the ring. We may feel sharp. We may be feeling a certain way. Like, I dusted that guy in sparring. But like Terrific could tell me on 2 different occasions, you want to win rounds. And I'm like, okay, that's sparring. Then they'll come to me and like, I need you to work on stuff. Don't try to win the round. So that's why, to answer your question, it's very important. I feel like when I think I'm progressing, sometimes I'm not. And I look for the answers in my coaches. Because a part of me, like at least 10% of me, I'm not gonna lie, I be feeling like that you're picking on me. But
I'm feeling that way for you.
Yeah.
and I had hard in my stable because I self-consciously or I mistakenly became the leader of a bunch of guys. They're looking for me to pave the way. I hear them all the time. You're gonna be the first world champion out of this gym, and I'm like, damn, that's a lot of pressure. But it's also a compliment that they see something in me. They see something. They see a type of skill that I possess that these other women don't. So, um, I definitely, to answer your question, I definitely feel like they're more like what they say matters. What like if I feel like I'm progressing and they say that I'm not, it's a 70-30. 30% I'm gonna feel I can go home and be like, okay, I'm progressing. But that 70%, you're not progressing.
Right.
You're stagnant.
No,
Yeah, I know. I know you say skills pay the bills.
Mhm.
Former Olympian, silver medalist. Um, what's next for you? Me looking at your fights and your career, it seems like you're ready. Like you right at that point of being ready to compete for one of these big belts. There's a lot of women boxing coming up this month.
yeah.
What do you see? What are your plans in this next year? You got anybody on your radar?
Title contention. Franchon Cruz, much respect.
Mhm.
She has the WBC, and I want to say either the WBA or the WBO. And Aline Arrows, who she's fighting on April 30th, has the other belts. I would love and would be honored to fight against the winner in a mega fight. I do everything I can to sell a fight. I don't see nothing else in the works besides that. I wanted to fight on that card. Promoters are highly interested. I'm in camp as we speak with no date on the line. I'm sparring every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday besides today. I better have had a surgery today that I had to be there and attend to. You know, I have a family. But other than that, I'm in the gym. I'm training 100%, 150%. I'm sparring. And I would love the winner of that fight. Title contentions is in my near future.
Makes sense to me.
That's a unification bout. I mean, you
Yes.
and
Which makes the winner of this fight big. First of all, because a lot of people think because you want to fight somebody, you can't respect them. I respect Franchon and Eileen. Much respect to them for actually being on a major platform and fighting for the undisputed. It's a shout out to Franchon Cruz and Eileen Sederos. I'll be tuning in. I would love to go to the fight. But most importantly, pass me the winner. I'll do whatever. I'll take the pay cut, perhaps. Not too much of a pay cut, because I know that that is going to solidify me to where I need to be. And that's pound for pound, 168 super middleweight undisputed world champion, one of the baddest females to ever lace up a pair of gloves, period.
Yeah, and I know you're good with the gloves, but I could have sworn I saw something online with you with the basketball too. What's up with your basketball skills?
You're talking to a All-American nominated in high school. I played for Patterson Eastside, fair Eastside.
Talk that trash.
I love that modesty.
4 years all county, 4 years all state.
Right.
Then I received the full scholarship to Old Dominion. I had a bunch of scholarships on the table. Could have went to any school in the nation, most schools. Got a ring for the Sweet 16. Played for Dominion, graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree. My mother made a deal with me. I remember the time that I had, I want to say, 3 letters of intent on my table. I was nowhere to be found. Guess where she called my boxing coach and said, "Hey, Barry Porter at the time, is she in the gym with you?" "Yeah, she's in the gym." "Get her home. We got these college coaches. They here." I get home. College coaches like, "Listen, we want to sign you to a scholarship, free education, opportunities to meet different people, play basketball on a collegiate level." I'm like, "But what about boxing?" "Oh, you can't box anymore. We can't risk you messing up your hands and stuff. Play ball." I cried. I pulled hair. I bit. I didn't want to. I was out. I love boxing. The Olympics was coming up. I could do the Olympics. Mom, I'm like, "Listen, I got a plan for you. Go to school, get your education, meet people, travel the world, get some significance to your name. Get something that people can't take from you, and that's your education. Live by yourself. You know, get something to fall back on." She said, "If you do that, when you graduate and you bring me a degree," this is funny. She said, "I'll give you your life back."
Whoa. And you know, that was valuable. I mean, invaluable.
Listen, my mother is the sole ruler of anything that I've got going on. This woman is strong. She could have been a fighter, but she passed it up. And I seen my mother kick a bunch of, when I'm growing up, my mother was not to deal with. And because my grandfather was a professional boxer. He was in camp with Marvin Hagler, Bobby Patterson.
Really?
Wow.
Yes, they said he hit like a mule. He was knocking out bears. My great-great-grandfather was knocking out bears. Like, my grandfather had hands, 2 of my fists together. So it's no question of where my power come from. But my mother was telling me that I was going to college since I was like 5. I'm looking at her, "Mom, what's college?" And then I'm in high school and I'm playing ball and I'm developing my game, and I realize I'm good. I'm beating the guys outside and it's fun for me. And I come in the house and one day, Patterson Eastside, we got a big game. And I'm like, "Mom, I don't feel like playing today." She's like, "Oh no, you playing." I'm like, "Whoa, this is a hobby." She's like, "Nah, this is my plan. It's gonna get you to where I said you was going when you was 5 years old."
So she was about to put them paws on you.
Yeah, she was like, I ain't have my tooth I ain't have my tools in the toolbox that day. So I couldn't challenge mom.
Yeah.
So she made that deal with me. A lot of people like, it's crazy because when I was on the USA team, I was grown. So I came back, I handed her my degree, and I said, "You remember what you promised me?" She said, "Yeah, I remember." I said, "Okay, I'm going for it." And even till this day, I had been working before I turned professional after I left. When I left to go, because Kenny Porter had offered me a great opportunity. He flew me out there, moved me out there, and was like, "You're going to be a professional fighter." And I went out there, I left my job, I left everything behind. So when I came back, I had to start all over again. And I started working for a bit. And my mother had came to the gym to see like, oh, my daughter could fight. She's serious. Like I really have messages of her hitting up people like Floyd Mayweather, Mike Tyson.
Really?
Supposedly, like there's a card going on with some of these same people I can't really mention, but some of these, and they want me involved. And I'm talking to my mom and I'm like, I don't really like to talk about stuff that isn't in print because sometimes it fall through and then it look bad on my part.
Right.
And it's
Right.
so and my mother took the chance of moving me. Grown. I'm grown. Like, look, don't worry about it. Let this be your... So she kept her promise. Till this day, she's keeping her promise.
Well,
So
I'll tell you one thing. She has produced a jewel, a diamond in the rough.
I appreciate it.
And for us, I mean, we really appreciate the things you're doing. We definitely look forward to you. Our segment is about to end, but before we close, I definitely want to just again give you your flowers now. I don't know if you had them before, but you're an amazing person.
Thank you,
Just
man.
getting to know more about you is man, I can't wait. I see big things in your future, and a new fan.
I appreciate it. Shout out to AI Boxing, man. I appreciate y'all for giving me y'all time, y'all energy, and y'all, most importantly, y'all ear, And there's power in prayer.
Yes,
With prayer and hard work, you can accomplish anything, man. I ain't trying to get golly on y'all, but anybody who
love it. We love
me.
Like, anybody who gives me their energy and their platform, you have my respect. I will never forget y'all. And when I get to the undisputed world title, shout out to A-Side Boxing. I'm gonna say it then.
Hey, look, believe it. We'll watch that fight together. All of us will watch it.
And we're gonna cover it on a recap.
Definitely.
I appreciate it. But I'll be on the recap. The winner.
Hold those belts. Hold those belts.
I promise you guys, man. Thank you for your time, man. Much love and respect coming from New Jersey and Shadasia Green. I appreciate y'all, man. For real.
All right, man.
Thank you, Shadasia.
All right.